So I think we're going to get started. So thank you again for joining. I'm Carl Milsom, and I'm the head of course development with ICEF Academy. And we are very happy to have you here today for this webinar with one of our partners, whom I'll introduce in just a moment. For those of you that are joining, just in case you're not aware or unsure, the session is planned to run for an hour. And I'll be introducing my colleague in a moment who will get started with the session. I'll welcome you to Alejandra from Genius. And we're very happy to be working together with Alejandra and Genius for an upcoming course. I won't say anything about it now because Alejandra will tell you all about it. And I'm not going to take too much more of your time, Alejandra, so I'll hand over to you now. But again, thanks for everybody for joining. Thank you so much, Alejandra, for running this session with us. And just a reminder again for everybody, if you have questions during the session, please feel free to type them into the question box, which you can access from the bottom of your screen. We won't be responding to questions until the end of the session. If there's any technical difficulties, I'll be in the background and I'll try and help with those as we go along. So submit your questions as you go along, and Alejandra and I will respond to them towards the end of the session. Thanks again, and Alejandra, over to you.
Thanks, Carl. Hello, everyone. Good evening for some, afternoon for others, and morning for me and everyone else connecting from the Americas at the moment. I'm Alejandra Otero. I'm the founder and CEO at Genius. We're an enrollment management consultancy. We've been operating for close to 9 years now, and we're international experts in education marketing, recruitment, and admissions. We work with higher ed, K-12, language schools, education agents in different markets around the globe in more than 12 countries. We deliver projects in English, Spanish, French, Italian, and 60% of our clients do come back to us saying, hey, let's work on different international enrollment management projects together. So today we're here to discuss a very important topic, especially for the education agents industry, becoming a data-driven agent. And I know that many of you have already raised interest in the topic by being here. And hopefully today we're going to walk you through a process on how is that you can optimize your recruitment and performance through a very important element in recruitment called the student journey. So many of you might not be familiar with the specific terminology, the student journey. It's becoming a bit more popular on the institution side, but it's equally important for the agents as well. So my aim today is to walk you through how to give you the tools to become a data-driven agent and understand a bit more about the student journey. So when I look back at the different conversations we'd have over the almost 10 years we've been operating, when we discuss with both institutions and agents, the most typical request that we get is, I need more leads. And to be fair, the most typical affirmation from our end is, what you need is better processes. Because if you don't have the right processes in place, it's very difficult for you to manage a huge quantity of leads, while processes and well-established process do enable you to process quality of leads. Of course, it can be combined with quantity, but quality is the main outcome we're expecting. So that said, today we're going to focus in different keywords. We say becoming a data-driven agent. So the word data is very important. We're going to see how we can have some data inputs in the systems that you already have. We are also going to see how is that you can optimize some of your processes, in this particular case, the recruitment part, and how you can increase performance and efficiency through the student journey. So without further ado, let's start talking about the student journey itself and what it is specifically. So if I look at a definition from PricewaterhouseCoopers, PwC, they define the student journey as the end-to-end sequence to all of the interactions that a student experiences throughout their relationship with a university, from the first time they hear about it at high school to completing their studies, graduating, continuing their learning, and keeping in touch as an alumnus. So from Genius, we've decided to give this definition a little twist, and instead of university, to change it by an international education institution. And we've decided also to change the high school part by a local education institution or agent. So basically, it's all of the processes and the emotions that a student goes through in the different touch points from the very moment they get acquainted with the different institutions up until they actually get to enroll. But then, of course, comes the completion of the studies and hopefully the re-enrollment part as well. So this is a very important concept for you to take into consideration. And if you haven't been familiar before with the student journey, I truly recommend to start integrating the student journey in your thinking process. A very important element, a student journey is different from a funnel. The funnel measures conversions. The student journey sees all of the different touch points the student goes through, but also measures emotions, while the funnel is actually measuring how many students convert from one step to the next one, and which ones actually drop at a specific stage or not. But the student journey is the cohesive, comprehensive overview. So maybe the what you can think of is the funnel you've been using can actually be integrated within the student journey. So we usually get to see the funnel as a vertical element, but the student journey usually is a horizontal experience the students go through. And it's very important for you to understand that maybe in some cases we do depict the funnel as a vertical one and the student journey as a horizontal one, but also in many cases, the student journey is painted with a beginning and an end, and it's a linear one. Well, that is something that we from Genius have been pushing to change as a concept and rather go through a non-linear student journey process. Why is that? Because a student can start with at the beginning of the journey with the awareness part, and let's say they start getting to explore different options, getting to see the different institutions, but at the same time they can have different experience. They can have ups, downs, they can have only ups, they can have an amazing up and then many downs, they can go up down, or many other forms, and even it can be a serpent way. So we've decided to call this a non-linear student journey. Even more so, this is true when we actually get to see the current audience that education agents are processing in their students, where these younger generations are also going through a multi-channel experience. So you're getting students who are contacting the institution directly, but at the same time, they're going to your agency, but they're also writing through socials, they are also attending an event. So it's many different touch points, many different channels, but all of them do integrate in the student journey. And depending on the experience that you give them, the potential students and their parents, of course, can experience different emotions. So the student journey is when we actually get to be able to identify which emotions also we're enabling these students and their parents to feel throughout the process. Hopefully, we look at positive experiences and positive emotions, but at the same time, we can't let aside that at the beginning, especially, there's a lot of uncertainty, then there's doubt, and many other different experiences and emotions that the students and their parents are actually going through. So this needs to be integrated in the whole equation. Now, how is it that you manage and process all of these potential students that are going through you? When talking with different education agents from around the globe, we get to see different trends. Some still are going through the basic form of lead management with pen and paper. Literally, this still happens at some agencies. And it's a transition process that many agencies are going through, and it has of course been accelerated since the pandemic. Some others do use Excel, or Google Sheets, or any form of sheets to manage the leads. But of course, that's static data, okay? It's not live data, and the changes that are done, depending whether it's on Excel. If it's Excel, it's downloadable files, and therefore with different timings, and whenever someone does an update, it has to be sent out or uploaded in the drive. While when it's a Google Sheets, for instance, it's collaborative, and it actually is in real time, reflecting the different changes from the team members. Now, that's already an intermediate step from the pen and paper, of course, but the ideal one to manage all of the leads, both from the students, and especially taking into account if they are minors, they have also different restrictions in terms of data management. Also, have a hierarchy in terms of enabling you to attach a student to their family or the parent who's actually sponsoring the studies, but also then being able to attach that family or that parent and student to the potential institutions that the students or the families are choosing. For that, you do require a more established and a solid way of processing leads, and that is usually through what is called a CRM tool, so a customer relationship management tool. This is already a more sophisticated system that enables you to process leads. Some agents are actually using already several CRMs. We have seen from the in the different conversations we've had and with the different clients, from HubSpot to Salesforce to Zoho, many other options that are out there, Microsoft Dynamics as well. These are the most typical CRMs that are being used, and of course, depending on the geographical area as well, some countries have already integrated pre-established CRMs that are more available in that particular geographical area and in the specific language of the agency. So this is very important for you to understand. The more integrated the technology is in your processes, the more you're going to be able to enable a positive experience throughout the student journey, even more so when we're talking about a multi-channel experience from the student. So now I want to do a very quick exercise with you, and I invite you to all have a look at this QR code. Please scan it, and the moment you're out there, you scan it and you see the question, the first question popping up. Please do start filling out that question. We're going to give you a couple of minutes, and I'll comment very quickly on that. Okay, so I see that already two people are typing. So the question is, at what point do you currently stop following up on your leads, basically? Is it at the very beginning, the middle, the end? At what point? Two people typing. When they stop answering the messages, okay, this is a very fair point. We get to hear a lot about that. If they stop reaching out, okay. So this is a combination of passive and active interactions after 3 attempts. Interesting. Okay. So my question to the person who wrote after 3 attempts would be 3 attempts at what stage of the funnel, or at which moment of the journey, maybe? Is it 3 attempts at the very beginning and then they're gone, or 3 attempts and then if they reply, you go back to another 3 attempts? That's super interesting to get to see. After consecutive 3 no response. Never, only when they unsubscribe. This is very interesting. So you do keep contacting them. When I have a conclusive information about the student, very interesting. So it's you're giving them the opportunity to get back to you, but you keep out there asking for support, or giving support to them. If they stop reaching out, what else? We have three more people typing. When they stop answering my contacts, yes, okay. Two more people. 35, I'm not sure, is it 35 times? When I get to know when the clients found another option, that's also something else we get to see. Sometimes they just don't tell you, but you get to know sometimes by the institutions if you do share the data, or some other times they do let you know, or they just, a very typical term from this generation, they ghost you. One last participant, and then I'm going to stop the poll. Last answer. All right. After they straight away decline to proceed. Okay, so as we're seeing, there's very different ways of going through lead management processes. And depending on your agency policy, you are the ones deciding what to do. Now, of course, the more you integrate automation, the more you're going to be able to identify which pieces are the ones that you're missing to continue the follow-up process. So that said, we go back to a very important point from our title, which is the data. So in the different processes that the student goes through, we have the different stages. So from awareness to consideration, we've simplified it here with application, but of course it goes further on. We're focusing here on the enrollment management umbrella. What happens afterwards, it's something that we'll discuss a little later. But from the data, from a data standpoint, we can get different pieces of data in the different stages. So at an awareness stage, we can, if ideally we have a CRM, and in some forms through manual Excel inputs or different tactics. For instance, some agencies do work with marketing agencies, and they share some data on what are the different sources. Well, if you do have a CRM, that is something that you can automatically track. So the sources might be a fair that they attended. It can be an Instagram ad, a LinkedIn ad that you do. Walk-in is also a source, etc., etc. It could be a referral from a former student of yours, and then that is a very important. This source is a very important data point that you're going to be able to measure through the different channels that you have. So many times when people ask in the forms, where did you hear about us? And the answer is Google or WhatsApp. Well, yes, that's already an input, but if you ask the person, they might not even remember because they have been contacting many people. So the more you automate this and the more you have a CRM, the more you're going to be able to have integrated tools, for instance, connecting the social media apps or the WhatsApp or the WeChat directly with your CRM so that all of that data can be inputted automatically. That's the ideal process. Another data point you can actually measure at the consideration stage is the response time. So we saw just before that you contact them 3 times. Okay, but 3 times within how long? Because if I contact them today and they didn't reply, and I contact them again in the afternoon, and again tomorrow, for instance, and they disappear, they haven't responded, well, that's already considered within the response time and also the communication frequency from my end. But maybe it's a matter of trial and error, and that's how you can understand what is the best response time that you're going to get from the potential students based on your communication frequency. So you in the previous exercise we saw some people saying after 3 times contacting them. Well, 3 times maybe in a week, but then if they reply to that, then those 3 times do reactivate again. There's another person who replied 35. We've seen some processes where it's already, and we've implemented at some agencies, the processes where there is many interactions up to 35, 40, which actually is with different attempts at different moments of the journey. So it's up to you. There's no right or wrong, but these are very important data points to consider from your end at that particular consideration stage of the student. And then, of course, at the application moment, there's a very important piece of data, which is the progress, but also the drop off. If we're not able to identify when exactly is it that potential students are dropping off, it's very difficult for us to be able to accommodate to their needs and to increase from our end the response at the right time with the right frequency. So what we get to see with some education agencies and institutions is that there's maybe specific times of the year where they actually get to respond faster, or yeah, or if they actually respond in the evenings. So that's also something that you need to be able to identify, but also what pieces of communication maybe that you are sending are making them drop off. If you're being also too intense, let's call it that way, you might be pushing them to drop off. So all of these is also something that you can measure in support with the institution, because if we're seeing at the at this stage as the application moment, it's also the moment where you get to discuss this with the potential institution they applied to, and then we get to see an important component, which is the agent portal. The agent portal is already, hopefully, with the support of the institutions, the institutions who actually want to have a more data-driven and tech-driven experience between the agents and themselves, they actually have a solid agent portal, which is where you as an agent actually get to upload your potential students for them, and they get to give you real-time answers on their progress. So in the ideal world, this agent portal is also integrated with your CRM in both ways, so that information flows from your CRM to the portal and vice versa, only for the leads, of course, managed through that particular institution who you're sharing that agent portal data with. So this is very important. I don't want to get too technical here, but it's basically a mirror or a dashboard only of the students that you're managing with that institution, so that they can have real-time visibility on the potential students that you have. And you from your end can also have those dashboards where you can visualize and track the progress versus the drop-off of each potential student. And therefore, all of this data-driven and tech-driven initiative would enable you to have better decisions, to take better decisions, of course, and have faster conversions, because that's where you're going to be able to identify what works, what doesn't, what should I do, what people are responding to better, what is not working at all, and also give feedback to my staff at the agency, to the counselors, to the marketing team, but also to the institution, saying, hey, maybe I need more support on this part of the funnel, maybe a conversation with someone from your team at this stage, or some support to arrange a webinar with you, because I'm seeing that there's interest, but they're dropping off at this particular stage. So this is already informed decisions that you can have and you can share internally and externally with your partners. Of course, all of this is having the potential student in mind for them to have the best possible experience. Now let's go back to the Slido. So if you already kept it open, you will be able to see the next question. Otherwise, just open it again. This is the QR code. And now my question is the following. How do you currently track your potential students? I'm gonna give you a couple of minutes. We see already one person typing. So this is all about the tech suite that you have or the processes that you have internally. All right, so calls mainly, Google Sheets and Trello. So Trello is a project management tool. This is already integrating technology, spreadsheets, Excel, okay. Notion is also a project management tool, but it enables also for you to write documents in there and share it with everyone else. Advisor, so an internal portal for you as well. It does have a CRM feature, and it enables you to track the pricing for the different institutions and have quotes. Perfect. CRM, Folk CRM and Notion. So I see that you're combining two tools. Hopefully they are integrated. Dynamics 365, that's the one, the CRM from Microsoft. WikiChat, I don't know that one. That's interesting, and it would be nice to have a look at that. I'll deep dive into that. Calls, send message, call again, WhatsApp message. But have, I'm not sure what was the word there. So this is a mixture, right, of different interaction types that you're sharing: the calls, the messages, the WhatsApp. I'm curious to see, of course, in the ones that are sharing calls and messages. I don't see emails. Hopefully, the ones who have a CRM are sending emails out there, and hopefully, those emails are automated, but also being able to track the email. So, a very interesting feature that CRMs have is that when you do send an email to potential students, and they open it, you have the open rate, you can see who opened it. You can also see in many of the CRMs a heat map on where is it exactly that the potential student, with the name exactly who actually went through which part of the email, if they opened an embedded video, if it was there, or if they clicked on a call to action button, for instance, if they submitted a form, if they clicked on a link. All of that data is something that you can track already, email per email, in your CRM, and sending messages in messaging apps. So the ideal word here is that all of this is actually outbound actions for you to contact the students. Hopefully all of this is connected through a technological tool, and in return the inbound part is for you to be able to track, analyze, pause, see those results, and then take action on how is it exactly that you're going to use that data to improve your internal processes. And I'm aware that at agencies, it's very tricky to have someone specifically dedicated to data analytics, and there's very little time for um, counselors or different staff members to look into that. But trust me, if even if it's something that someone in the team gets as a responsibility, and you can rotate that per week, or try different challenges internally so that you can also train someone ideally to look into that data, because the data that you have within a CRM, for the ones that are already using a CRM, and for the ones who are using messaging apps and connecting them through the CRM, this is gold, and many agencies are unfortunately not using it enough. So now that we've had some of those insights, I want to stop for a second regarding the importance of the CRM, and hopefully this would make people who are still working with pen and paper, and the ones in the middle with the Excel or spreadsheets, to get to look into a CRM. And for the ones who already have a CRM, hopefully this also pushes you to look into a, an agent portal with your partner institution, and push also the partner institutions to give you some support in that end, so that we have full transparency. So the ideal world is when the agents have a CRM, the institutions have a CRM, and they share an agent portal. And the agent portal enables you to have real-time visibility on everything that is out there regarding the students you're processing for that specific institution. This is very important. Please do understand that an agent portal should only enable the institution you're working with to see the data for the students that you're going to process for that specific institutions. You should not share data related to other institutions or to other interests um, with that institution. And therefore, that's what an agent portal does, because you're not sharing CRM to CRM. You're sharing CRM to agent portal and agent portal to CRM. Okay, so without having this very techy part, is important for you to understand that there's no visibility of other leads if you actually go through an agent portal usually shared by the institution with the agency, because I'm of course aware that there's an additional cost that many agencies can't afford with providing a specific agent portal from your end to be shared with the institution. But if you can, fantastic. Now, why am I saying this? Because the holy grail is when we have all of this and we actually get to integrate automation and, of course, nowadays AI. So many CRMs do already have AI integrated in their systems, and that enables personalization at scale. How many times have we gotten those emails saying, hi, and we don't have the name? How many times have we received those emails saying, thank you for your interest, but the interest in what? The CRM can enable you to actually personalize at scale. And for instance, and they identify initially through a form what is my country of interest if I'm a potential student, and what is my field of interest, for instance. And I can, with this is just an example, but with already those two examples, I can personalize an email saying, hi, name, thank you for your interest in country and program. That already, or program type, that is already something that is making the potential student feel that, oh, these people is caring. And let's be honest, all of our Netflix, Instagram feeds, Spotify accounts are completely personalized. This is the experience these potential students are used to. So why aren't we delivering it from the educational institution and the education agent perspective? This is fundamental for us to be able to match the expectations from Gen Z, Gen Alpha, but also their millennial parents. The automation and AI can also enable us to send reminders, but both internal and external. The internal reminders enable tech staff and mission staff, counselors to be able to reach out again. Hey, 3 days have passed. This potential student hasn't replied. Contact them via WhatsApp. Or a reminder for the potential student saying, hey, don't miss this webinar happening tomorrow within 24 hours. All of this can be already automated and personalized within the CRM. You can also have smart templates so that your team can actually have free time to respond to very specific inquiries. And whatever is already the general FAQs is preset in your different templates. And this is something that then you send throughout the CRM, and it enables you to reduce that time and give more support when you have a very specific question, and therefore give more value for empathy, which is something that technology usually can't do as well as a human. And of course, within a CRM, you can implement workflows. So that's basically without getting too technical, it's the programming part in the back end where you actually get to say, if A, then B. So if something happens, then do whatever. This is something that you can implement already within a CRM, and the tool will work for you when you're sleeping, sick, during the weekends, and while you're on holidays. And that's how you're able to maximize, of course, your efficiency. And of course, as I said before, the analytics part is fundamental. Many people who have a CRM actually use it already for automation and efficiency purposes, but not many get to properly deep dive on the data to be able to analyze what's behind it and therefore take decisions from it and constantly do iterations and adjust the processes that you've been implementing. So all of that enables you to have a better performance, of course, which was one of the topics of our conversation today. And the idea is that with all of this into place, you can reach three main goals, which is of course revenue generation, but also student satisfaction, which is extremely important. And here we are putting the student at the center thanks to technology. And when we get to see also at a third goal, it's also retention and re-enrollment. And that's also something I want to reinforce, because many agencies say, well, retention is not part of my role. Well, it is. It's not only on the side of the institution, because that potential student also has siblings, they have different family members, they have friends, and they can recommend you. But also, re-enrollment is equally important, because if you gave them an amazing experience throughout, from the beginning to the very end, this potential student who once went to a language program with you then can join a higher ed program with you as well. And many agencies are not even planning ahead in the CRM that if they enroll, for instance, in bachelor's program in Europe, I'm just giving an example, and we know that a bachelor's in Europe is 3 years long, then in my CRM, I can already pre-program something saying, well, contact this potential student within 2 years' time once they have enrolled, because they would be looking at master's options. So this is also something that needs to change in the mindset of the agent. It's not only from the beginning to the moment this potential student enrolls, but actually the whole loop, so that hopefully, thanks to technology, this can also be made easier to you, and you can re-enroll students and their peers. So last interaction from your end, and I promise I won't make you work more than this. Let's go back to Slido. And the next question is, how do you currently scale lead management? So we saw everything that I just mentioned regarding automation, AI, how you can integrate maybe chatbots internally. Let's have a look at what the audience says. Through a CRM manually, or you just simply don't. And therefore, in any case, this is an opportunity for you to look into AI, automations, CRM, and any tech suite that can enable you to better support your potential students and their families. So 75% through a CRM, 25% manually, 0% I don't. Okay, this is already a good start. Anyone else want to give, okay, more people on CRM. Good. Manually. Let's hope for a couple more to have a better balance. Manually. Here we go. This is absolutely normal. We get to see that, and hopefully this webinar also enables you to see that there's other options out there to scale it. Okay, we've got 10 participants and we have now 60, 40, 0. I think we're gonna leave it out there. This is a good poll, and it's already very interesting to see that 60% of you actually go through a CRM, because from an agent's perspective, it's usually what we get to see. It's the opposite. It's mostly of manually, and then less people actually go through a CRM. So this is already good news. Hopefully we can improve also with agent portals, automation, AI, etc. So in terms of the last element from our webinar today, we talked about optimization. And for this, we really want to tackle a very important point for agent management, which is the commission part. And what is the best possible way for us to actually drive commissions through technology? Well, by implementing a tech-driven, meaning commerce mindset. So if you see, this is assuming that we have a CRM and hopefully an agent management portal, which you here. And the idea is to manage both commissions and reimbursements in case that happens through these tools connected ideally in the best possible word with the finance tools, with also notifications from potential online portals that students use to pay for their courses. So for instance, a Flywire or something in those likes, which already triggers a notification on the institution side saying, hey, we've received the payment from the student, and then the financial team from the institution can track it, and then they can check a box on the CRM, and that is already connected to the agent portal, and therefore you get a notification saying, hey, we've received the funds from this potential student. And all of that hopefully is only through a technology-driven environment, and therefore everything is connected while you are just receiving notifications rather than you having to send back and forth emails with questions. Has the student paid? Have we received this? Are we missing that? So all of this is the ideal world. It happens already at many institutions and some agents. So hopefully we get to see this transition. And having this online enables you to have a real-time visibility on the eligibility of your potential students' commission. Of course, see the timing of your commissions being paid, but also the transparency in the process where you get to see, well, the student paid already the application fee, but then they paid an admin fee if there is, or they paid the full tuition, or actually they paid the first installment. You can get to see that, and therefore have also ideally in that system the different rules by which you abide by, which is when is it that you get commission? Is it within 2 months from the moment the student actually starts the program? If they pay in installments, do you get it split twice a year? All of this is hopefully already defined, predefined in the tool, and this is already able to be programmed in the CRM and in agent management portal. There are specific agent management portal solutions that are already pre-built, so you don't need to do any of that in the CRM. So it's up to you and to the institutions you partner up more with to define what's the best tech tool to use. And of course, with all of that full visibility, identify what is the best way to manage exceptions, because exceptions are always going to happen. Of course, there are rules, but there's exceptions based on, for instance, the most typical one, a potential student who contact both an agent and the institution directly. Well, the CRM is going to enable you to map at what specific day and time you had the conversation with that student versus the same variables but on the institution side, and then contrast both and define, well, this commission is to be claimed by the agency or it belongs to the institution. So these are different tools, tech tools that enable you to optimize your process through a tech-driven mindset. And to finalize, I wanted to just share that because all of this and seeing the different outcomes from the conversations we've had in the past and the need to professionalize the enrollment management part from a tech standpoint, specifically for education agents, we're very proud from Genius to have partnered up with ICEF Academy for us to deliver a new course, brand new, called Student Journey and Enrollment Strategies for Agents. So this is going to be released in the coming days. And what you're going to have there is different elements that will enable you to actually go through the whole student journey, master it, and also have some data inputs to boost your enrollments from an education agent standpoint. And that would actually open you access to student journey map frameworks, to specific examples, to practical exercises, and templates that you can download and use immediately to boost your internal strategies and tactics. It's self-paced and practical, and it's going to be released before the end of the month. And the investment would be 149 euros. It does include the exam and a digital certificate. Just a little note out there, if you are an IAS agency, there is going to be a discounted price for you. So this is something that you can already have in mind to keep an eye on the moment this is going to go live by the end of the month of November. So thank you everyone for today's time. Now we're gonna leave some space for Q&A.
Hi, Alejandra, I'm back. Thanks very much for that, and thanks from the participants as well, I'm sure. I can see that they were keen to engage with the interactive elements, so that was really nice to see. There are a few questions. Just before I get to the questions about the content, it was asked and answered in the background, but I just want to let everybody know that this is being recorded and will be sent out. So anybody who's attending will get this on video as well. So in case you're wondering about that. There's some really good questions, some about the processes, some that are a bit more technical. So I'll go through these with you now. I think you've spoken to this already a bit, Alejandra, but I think it's nice to just get a bit of a summary perhaps here. Somebody asked, Nadim asked, what metrics should agents prioritize to measure lead quality, not just lead quantity? And that's a big part of what you talk about.
Yes, so I haven't, thank you for the question. I haven't got too deep into the tech part, but there's a very interesting element that you can integrate once you have a CRM, and it's a lead management tactic called lead scoring. So lead scoring actually enables you to identify different variables to filter and better qualify your leads at different stages of the funnel. So let me give you an example, and I think the question is very valid for everyone else. If at the very beginning of the process you have a form, and that form that you have nowadays actually just asks about what's your name, your last name, email, telephone number, and then we'll get in touch with you. Okay, that's fair enough. But maybe you want to add a second filter in the second day, or in the next interaction, with an additional question that you can filter within the lead scoring system, which is, how are you willing to fund your studies? And when you ask that question, you have different options: personal funds, scholarship, through a bank loan, etc. And then internally, in the back end of your CRM, you can pre-program that so that, for instance, people who reply through personal funds get a higher ranking than the ones who reply through a scholarship. That's an example, but you can also have other questions. For instance, if someone is applying to a higher ed program, and you have requested what is your type of program, what is the language in which you want to study, and then you ask, what is your language level? And if they are willing to study in English, for instance, but they say I have an A2, then that is already something that you can pre-program internally without any human input, so that automatically the tool gives you the best outcome. And I'm going to give you a last example, also taking into account visa restrictions abroad. So for at the moment, we're seeing a lot of geopolitical changes. If you get to identify that a potential student is asking for a country that, you can decide this internally, but that you know is going to be very tricky to get a visa for that potential student to go to, then those countries can have a lower ranking in your system, while the ones that you actually understand that are feasible can give you a higher ranking. So the sum of this, with plus and minus, would give you a lead ranking from the potential students that you have. And this is something that your team internally, the moment they get to the office in the morning, or if they're working remotely from home, they can open the computer, get to their desktop, and get to see a lead scoring list with the in the top of the list the most qualified ones, and those should be the ones that they should be contacting initially. So those are the ones they need to be calling, they need to be sending message immediately, rather than an approach of, well, this is the last one who contacted me, so that's the first one I'm going to contact. This is hopefully something that can enable you to identify different variables that you can get to identify for KPI tracking in terms of conversion management.
Thanks for that, Alejandra. That was great, really detailed answer. And just I know for a fact that there's more on that in the course as well. So if people are interested, there's definitely more available for that. This one I think is quite a quick one, potentially even just a yes or no. And I have a very vague sense of this. Abdul asked, he says that CRM is a new concept for him, and he asked, does it work with WhatsApp? And I think you've talked before about integrating WhatsApp into CRMs, haven't you, Alejandra?
Absolutely. So again, without getting too technical, but depending on the tool you choose, the CRM tool you choose, there are different integrations, whether native or non-native. What does a native integration means? It's something that is developed already within the CRM, and some CRMs have developed a form already of integrating WhatsApp in it. If not, what you need, and Abdul, just translate this to your tech team. It's an API. An API is a connector, it's a bridge, and the most typical one would be something like Zapier. This is what actually enables you to connect two platforms, so WhatsApp, for instance, with CRM X, and you actually have the API in the middle as a bridge, and it connects it both with information flowing from WhatsApp to the CRM and from your CRM to WhatsApp. So you can reply on WhatsApp and get automated messages related, visible, sorry, on the CRM, or you can reply on the CRM and actually that's already sent out through WhatsApp. But always when you open the potential student profile on the CRM, you get to see all of the conversation in one view.
Excellent. Thank you again. Just as I'm going through, there's a couple of questions in here from people about the course itself and joining, and about opportunities for more learning. So just briefly, I'll say that we're expecting the course to come out later this month. We do have a date, but we're not saying it today. But it's coming very, very soon. It's in really is in the coming days, as Alejandra said, and we'll inform all of you when that time comes. So watch this space. And also, again, not to announce anything officially, Alejandra, but we do have plans for more events like this in the future as well, don't we? So I can see that people have enjoyed this and are keen for more, so we will deliver, and we're looking forward to that as well. There is another question here from Amanda. Amanda's asking, I think, for your professional insights here. What is the communication frequency that you consider ideal?
Amanda, I wish I had the crystal ball and I can reply to you with the very specific right answer. Truth is that I don't, but no one else does. This is something that your data is going to actually tell you. We've seen institutions for which, when you actually, again, it changes a lot when it's on the institution side versus on the agent side. We've seen institutions for which the process is very quick, agents in which there's a lot of ghosting in the middle, but then the students go back. We've seen a lot of support in the very 24 hours from an event organized by the agency. That's super quick. You want to be out there, but at the same time, this is a lifelong decision process. So students are coming back and forth, and therefore you don't want to saturate that audience either if you're integrating a lifelong learning mindset, and as we talked about, the re-enrollment phase. So you want to keep seeing what works, what doesn't. Try sending out also a variety of different communication messages, but also types. See what works with some audiences through the different channels. So for instance, not always sending emails, or just plain emails. Try combining that with embedded videos, with webinars, with ask me anything, questions, or spaces with alumni from previous experiences with you, um, invitations to events. So try and combine the different excuses, I always call that, throughout a different frequency, and whatever your data in the CRM tells you, that's what's going to enable you to adjust. But of course, none of these would actually be feasible if you don't look at that data. So my best advice would be not to stop at using the CRM as a tool to send out information, but actually also to measure what the people are telling you basically from the interactions they're having with the content you're sharing with them. So again, in the ideal world, this answer would actually be given to you internally if you even have someone to be fully dedicated to that role internally at your agency, and it's someone who is specifically dedicated to sending out emails, but also to programming workflow, to identifying all of the input from the data and constantly doing adjustments. So hopefully this is something that you would be able to identify internally and share with your peers from your specific geographical location, and identify what can be changed, because this is something that the moment you think you have it, it's not a picture. This is something that is going to work for a little while, and then you have to adjust in any case.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Alejandra. And in the closing minutes, there is one more question that's also from Amanda, but I think the answer will be almost the same as you just said, that there's no kind of fixed answer here. Amanda also asked, do you have a message suggestion to keep the leads engaged? So if you want to say anything extra on that in the last sort of 30 seconds, go ahead.
Yeah, no. So just very quickly, always try and find excuses. If you think you're being too pushy, try and work with the institutions you're working with to implement something new. Bring a speaker, have a mentorship event done by someone else. Give support in terms of what are the new careers that you should be getting prepared for, and try and identify things that no one else is doing, but that your specific audience, and in this particular case, we're looking at younger generations, but also their parents. What are they looking for and no one else is delivering, so that your experience can be the one that stays with them, and you're doing something just that they would not forget. This is all about the emotions you're making them feel.
Yeah, it's the perfect closing statement there as well. Wraps a lot up. So thank you, thanks a lot for that, Alejandra.
Thank you, Carl.
I think everybody enjoyed it here. A lot of value I can see from the types of questions we're being asked. There was a lot of value for people there. So just a reminder from me to everybody that the course is coming, and there's more events like this in the pipeline as well. So stay tuned, and we'll be very keen to meet you all again. Once more, Alejandra, thank you so much. Really enjoyed that. Really appreciate the time that you've shared with us today. And again, thanks to everybody.
Thank you, everyone. It's been a pleasure. Thank you, Carl.